Streams presented by Google. Just about an hour away from our campus at ESPN, you will find Mohegan Sun Arena, and that is where the WNBA season tips off tonight. The Indiana Fever and their new superstar, Clark, getting set to tip it off against the Connecticut Sun, who have been very successful over the last several seasons in the league. And with that, we welcome you inside Studio E. I am Sam Ravech, and next to me is the founder of Highlight Her, ESPN and Anscape women's commentator, Ari Chambers. We are so grateful to have you.
Let's get it, team, man.
Yeah, let's do it. And by the way, you couldn't have picked a better time to join the team, too, because the 28th season of the WNBA tips off tonight. And we are going to be taking you right up to the Liberty Mystics game in about 30 minutes, talking all things in the W. First off, level of excitement for this season, 0 to 100?
I mean, I'm on 1,000.
1,000,
I stay
that's what
on
I thought.
1,000 of excitement. This is everything we've been building.
Yeah, that's
everything.
what I thought. And again, like you could not find a better time to be a fan in the women's basketball game, because the popularity of the sport continues to grow year over year, and this is probably the most highly anticipated season yet. And it even picked up more steam about a month ago when it was made official, and Clark did indeed get picked #1 overall to go to the Indiana Fever. She tips off tonight like we just saw. Ari, what are your expectations for Clark and the Indiana Fever this year?
I expect them to make a playoff push, but going back to Clark, she's a rookie.
Yeah,
we have to wait and see how they acclimate to the league. It is a harder adjustment than most people anticipate. It's a different speed, a different level of physicality. If you look at Caitlin, just the eye test, she needs to bulk up a little bit, but that doesn't come overnight. So the strengthening she's going to have to do to face these physicality in the players in the league is going to be a test for her. But you know what? One thing about her that's going to make a smooth transition is her speed. Her speed. If you saw Full Court Press, she talked about how her IQ is so advanced. She sees plays before they even happen. And having a teammate that can find her down in the post and she can just get that outlet pass is going to be beneficial to her. She can play at the speed that she's always wanted to play. And also, I'm looking at her as to how are you going to, move off these screens better and find your shot, not from the logo.
Sure. You're
open now. You're open. You're able to get those long twos. And I know Christy Sides mentioned that in the preseason. Like, Caitlin, the shot selection is going to change a little bit because it's not going to be that you're going to have to be completely reliant on you.
Right. Clark is expected to make an immediate impact. The over-under for her point total tonight on ESPN Bet right now is 21.5 points. Now, she's making her debut, by the way, against one of the best defenses in the entire league over the last several years, so we will see how that pans out. By the way, we're going to talk to Monica McNutt, who is on the floor right now. In a little bit, we'll talk to her about everything coming up tonight from Mohegan Sun Arena. All right, so Clark isn't the only rookie that made her way into the league this year. The Chicago Sky went SEC heavy in their draft picks, and they went and got 2 national champions, right? They go and get Kamilla Cardoso and Angel Reese, the reigning SEC Player of the Year. How exciting is it going to be once Kamilla comes back and gets healthy to see them playing on the same team on the same floor in Chicago?
You have some of the best defensive players that ever walked the SEC. You have Kamilla Cardoso that can get those rebounds, just snatch them. Her height, her body, her physicality is right there. She's not afraid to just get up and elevate above people. But then you have an Angel Reese who plays exactly like her personality, just relentless. She's a big that can switch to every position, and just being able to read where the passes are going, get those steals and pop out and just finish under the basket. I can't wait to see them together, healthy. They're excited to play together and just being able to disrupt. I love that word for them, disruption. They get in the way of things and just make people uncomfortable with the way they play. And that's how you know you're dominant. That's how you know you're good. Yeah,
Chicago kind of redefined expectations, I think, once they won it all in 2021. Obviously, a great new hire in Teresa Weatherspoon coming in after spending 5 years with the Pelicans in the NBA. So excited to see how that plays out. But those are probably some of the more well-known rookies making their debuts tonight and tomorrow. How about some of the under-the-radar rookies and newcomers to the league? Who you got there?
I mean, hello, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown. She's not the youngest because she came out in 2020 in Cal, but she came out and showed out, and that's what preseason is for, training camp is for. She played a couple seasons overseas, but when she's able to go out and produce in the way she did, game one was a joy to watch. She said, hey, when I have the opportunity, I'm going to step up and do it offensively and defensively. We love a player who's complete, that can impact both ends of the floor. Again, she's new to the WNBA, but she is not new to professional. But how about De'Asia Fair? I was actually in Columbia, South Carolina, able to watch De'Asia play in the fourth quarter. Becky Hammon doesn't typically go to her rookies now. She played them in the fourth quarter because they were up so much against Puerto Rico, but it was still poetry in motion. And the way Becky Hammon is able to get to those smaller guards and really help translate their game from NCAA to the WNBA is special. De'Asia Fair looked very comfortable. She found Kate Martin in 3 back-to-back possessions, and it was poetic in the way she was moving the ball. We know she can score, but I wasn't expecting the flashiness that she brought with the Aces.
I'll throw one out here. What about Cam Brink, right? She gets to stay home on the West Coast. She had 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists in the final preseason game against the Phoenix on Friday. She's going to get opportunities to play because they need some size.
You know what? Cameron Brink defensively, I'm looking at. She was great in college. I want to look and see how she's going to control and be disciplined on the defensive end and not foul. But that shot blocking ability, honey, that shot blocking ability that Cameron Brink has is phenomenal.
So, by the way, everybody is kind of looking up at Caitlin Clark because she is minus 750 at ESPN Bet to take home Rookie of the Year honors this season. She obviously brings a huge following, bunch of eyeballs with her. I'm sure we're going to see it in the ratings in the WNBA. We saw it in the ratings in the college game as well. But with all of the new eyeballs on the league, Ari, there have been some changes that have taken place over the last couple of weeks, one of them being expansion. This has been a topic that has been talked about quite a bit. And right now, the WNBA in its final stages of negotiations to make Toronto the newest franchise that will start in 2026. Remember, we have Golden State coming up next year. They just announced their name, the Valkyries, earlier today, so that's exciting news. But, it's about time, Ari, right? This has been a long time coming. I'm glad that it took a little while, too, because we get to fully appreciate it now, and I think we're going to really start seeing a couple more teams pop in. But can you just explain to some of the new fans coming in to the league why it is so important and why this is a topic of conversation now?
You have a generation that has been raised with the WNBA, so they have something to aspire to be as they are birthed. And so the elite level talent is so abundant right now. So I understand the pace at which the WNBA was moving and want to be slow and steady so it's sustainable. But right now, you need to strike while you're hot and expand so that not only the fandom doesn't die out when that transition, when your faves don't make a team, but because the talent you can sustain it the entire roster. And we've been pushing for expansion for a long time. It's necessary. It's pivotal. And Toronto's been asking for this. We've had WNBA games in Toronto and Edmonton. Sold out. Canada has been begging us, and now it's time.
Now it's time. And by the way, if it's going to take a little while to expand the rosters, expansion of teams is probably the next best thing because you get more opportunities.
I'm more on I'm more on the side of expanding teams than rosters because how many coaches go super deep in their bench? We still want them to have playing ability. We still want the utilization of your talent to be reflected in the league. But if you add more teams, there's more chances for people to shine.
It was also announced that Portland is in contention for another team to potentially be a home in the WNBA in the near future. If you were to pick a location for, let's say, another WNBA team to maybe make a return or a new city to host, who would that be?
Charlotte Sting. Bring back the Charlotte Sting.
Quick answer.
I want the days of Dawn Staley, Allison Feaster, Andrea Stinson. I want those days. I'm a Carolina girl. I am all for bringing back the Charlotte Sting. I know we're big on Houston Comets, but Charlotte Sting is what I would bring back.
I was going to say you bring back the Comets, right? Because
we love a legacy.
Well, a legacy, right? And there was a CC before CC. That would be Cynthia Cooper.
Period.
Though, I mean,
like what you did there. Look, my teammate, hold it down.
Just to remind, I know we got a lot of new fans, so we're just making sure everybody's aware of the history of this league. But the Comets won 4 straight titles from 97 to 2000, so I think that would be cool.
But North Carolina's the hoop state.
Who said that?
Everybody.
Okay, everybody.
Synonymous.
Right.
Synonymous.
So league expansion is one thing, but another big topic of conversation in the league over the last several years has been the way that the teams have traveled to their games. Now, it was announced last week or so that charter flights were going to be phased into the game. Another long time coming. You see Caitlin Clark chilling there. This looks like a great time, by the way. My goodness.
Lexi Hull looks like she's having the best time ever.
How important was it for the league to do this and to do it now, Ari?
You have to meet the moment. That is something that you can't avoid right now with player safety and player popularity. You have to meet exactly where the players are having you elevate. And so the WNBA, all eyes are on you. You know you had to do the right thing. It's the time. The time is now. Player safety and player popularity. You can't have them walk in there.
But with expansion, though, right? You're going to add Toronto.
You kind of going across international lines, honey. Imagine a delay trying to get to Canada.
You got to go through customs, right? I mean, so the charter flights will be phased in. Already, some teams are making their first chartered flights. The Fever was one of the teams that chartered their way to Connecticut. So that'll be something to keep an eye on, and a great step forward for the league. Players, by the way, are going to be able to rock some new shoes on those charter flights fairly soon.
A1 on the
because
PJ.
Asia Wilson just announced that she is teaming up with Nike for their signature shoe collection, and they will be called
A1.
I like how you said that. That's like a commercial. Yeah,
it's selling A1 by Asia Wilson, honey.
It's really cool, obviously. This has been a long time in the works, and you know Asia very well.
Yeah.
From what I know about Asia, I know her play. She goes 110% with everything she does on the floor. I got to imagine she did the same thing with her shoe.
Everything she touches turns to gold. You're going to hear from her, and she's going to tell you how long it took. The shoes take a long time, y'all. It is meticulous planning, but Asia likes to make everyone and everything better around her. So she's paying attention to every detail. She's very proud of it.
Yeah.
And that's something that we don't acknowledge enough, the pride that you have in a product. And so that's why it's going to take a little bit longer than what the fans want, because the fans, hey, we're not patient people. Let's just be honest. We want those A1s right now. But yeah, Asia is excited about it. Coach Don Staley broke the news to her, and she was excited to bring it to her hometown, and that's where the news popped out.
So Ari went down to meet with the MVP to talk about her new kicks in the most recent preseason game. Take a look.
Angel Wilson, your A1, shocked the world, broke the internet. How did you keep it all inward? Because I know a lot of people had so much to say, and they were really going to bat for you.
Yeah, they were, and I support, and I thank you for everyone that was out there supporting me. I got the messages, I got the DMs, but it was hard keeping it. But I wanted to make sure that it was great. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't like half speed. I wanted it to be great. I wanted it to be top tier. So that was the easy part of keeping it under wraps, because I'm like, it's not there yet. But now that it's there yet, and the rollout's there, I'm super excited, and I'm so blessed, because this is gonna be good. The best is yet to come.
When did you find out, and what has the process been?
I found out maybe a couple years ago. Like, it's been a minute. We sat down. Coach Staley actually was the one that recorded a video for me and announced it to me. And right there, I kind of had a moment, because it's surreal. It really is when they say, like, no, you're going to be a signature athlete. And then from that moment, it was constant talks, it was constant meetings, a lot of decks, a lot of picking fabrics, and just different things. Because I wanted to be different. I didn't want it to be like another shoe. I wanted it to be very, very different to me, and what the consumer also loves. So.
All right, now it's time to take a look at fans are searching for, presented by Google. Searches for best WNBA team spiked 320% in the U.S. over the past month. All right, we're going to do something a little fun here, Ari. On the count of three, we're going to say out loud who we think the best team heading into the season is. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Aces. Yeah. That was pretty quick. I think that's a lot of people will think that the back-to-back defending champions in the league will be the best team coming into this season, and you would be correct. But maybe the better question is, who poses the biggest threat to the Aces this year, Ari?
Now, I know that I'm a make people a little bit hesitant, but preseason is a time to test out new schemes and players. The Liberty very well could take this back-to-back finals matchups, because they kept their core. And I know people are skeptical about Sandy Brondello, but they have Breanna Stewart, one of the best players in the world, matching up against Asia Wilson, one of the best players in the world. Their guard play. They have a Sabrina Ionescu versus a Chelsea Gray when Chelsea gets healthy, Jackie Young. So I think that the best matchup face-to-face is the Liberty with the Aces. That's my take.
I'm with you too, Ari. I think we got to remember that the Liberty are relatively still new to this big three concept, right? It was just last year that all three of them got together and played on the floor together. Jonquel Jones was another big part to this team that is coming back after injury, so that will help them out big time. I think that the Liberty, they didn't finish the way they wanted to last year, and I don't want to say it was embarrassing, but it wasn't the way that they wanted to finish the season, right?
I would say the Liberty's issue is with consistency. They have all the puzzle pieces that they need. It's just how are you going to show up day after day? You saw the preseason game. They just weren't finishing layups. Like, what was going on there? And so you take that, and offensively, when they're not in the swing of things, you have on the defensive end a Betnijah Laney. You have a Kayla Thornton. So their pieces are there. It's just a matter of, can you find a rhythm when one of your stars is off? And they have a deeper bench than a lot of teams want to recognize. And so I think that because they kept their core five and then they have a defensive presence that a lot of teams don't have, they have the potential to really be a good nightmare for some people.
How about offense? Because Dallas has plenty of that, and they also have plenty of size. They could be a team that could cause some fits. They beat the Aces last year in one of the games that they squared off against. And I'll put a caveat on this because Satu Sabali, who made a ton of strides last year, most improved player, will miss some time, won't return until after, I believe, the Olympic break in the second half of the season. So without her, that maybe causes me to have some pause to make this pick. But they have the size to compete with the Aces.
I was just going to say, Dallas has the size. If nothing else, the post presence is just phenomenal. Tierra McCowan, Kalani Brown. But you know who got better in the offseason, Sam?
Who's that?
Maddie Siegrist. Maddie Siegrist played in Athletes Unlimited, and you just saw her confidence grow. I didn't know she could shoot like that, honey. I did not know. But Maddie Siegrist is one of those ones. But I'm looking at Dallas. They have 5 rookies, and that's what worries me. How are you going to balance the 5 rookies? But Arike too. She's clutch as well. And so just that offensive reliance on Arike, are you going to spread that and you're going to feed your post? Are you going to depend on Maddie Siegrist, who's coming out of nowhere, honey? But this is what she did in college, obviously. But, it's just the growing confidence, and just a year or two, what is she going to bring?
I can't wait for this season. We're already just like a couple minutes into the show. I cannot wait for this season.
Does it ignite you? Does it make you fiery?
It gets you ready to go. By the way, if you are looking for something to get you in the mood for the upcoming season, head on over to ESPN Plus and check out Full Court Press. You get some behind-the-scenes look at some of the new players coming into the league. Take a look.
I'm a competitor. I want to be in the national title game again. I don't want anything less than that.
How will she go for history?
Everybody wants to be the number 1 team.
Nobody has beaten South Carolina.
I feel pressure.
They wanted more than you.
That's the truth. Never underestimate anybody.
If you want something, you gotta make sacrifice for it.
Every team's going to do that to us now. It's not going to work. Hardest part about being Caitlin Clark, having to feel like you're always on.
I don't think anybody fully grasps the pressure she's under.
I'm from Brazil. That's my biggest sacrifice, just being away from my family.
Obviously, UCLA winning is an expectation. Sometimes it feels like, is it all worth it?
She could be a program changer.
These are the moments I've worked for. I'm meant to be here.
The all-time leading scorer.
What's unique about this moment in women's basketball, they can no longer hold us back.
You bet.
90 nights. I love it.
That was awesome.
All right, you have a knack, let's call it a refined skill, for telling us what we should be watching. Who can we not afford to sleep on this season? Because I feel like there's some players getting some disrespect right now.
Sam, I can go on and on about the players that we
Let
don't
them hear
talk
it.
about enough. But you know what? Nalissa Smith, I'm looking to Indiana Fever. All the eyes on Indiana Fever this season. We know Caitlin Clark. We know Aaliyah Boston. But Nalissa Smith, she was the 2nd pick overall in her draft class. And we cannot forget about this forward who has the ability to score and finish and catch people off guard. And what I love about her is she works hard at her craft. She's in great shape. She went overseas. She said, you know what? I'm going to get some international experience. And a lot of players tend to err on the side of, I don't want to go overseas. I don't want to. I want to stay domestically. But to refine your game and to develop, which we don't talk about development enough.
Good point.
She has really gone overseas, said, what do I need to work on? Her ability to score and finish finish, finish, finish. And so now that Caitlin Clark draws so much defensive attention, it's NaLyssa Smith's opportunity to shine and do it in a big way.
I think when you think about the players that will benefit most by playing with Caitlin Clark, it's hard not to think about NaLyssa Smith as one of those players, because Caitlin's obviously going to attract a lot of attention. And you mentioned her scoring ability. So if you're going to take defenders off of NaLyssa Smith, put them on Caitlin Clark, it's going to open up some driving lanes, some shooting lanes for a player like NaLyssa Smith. Efficient with her shots too, Ari, right? She's averaged about 13 shots a game last year. She put up 15 and a half points per game off of those shots. All right, who's somebody else that's getting slept on?
Well, before we go to somebody else, I just want to let you know what she said. She said, my role is to play hard, rebound the ball, and score the ball when I have the opportunity. We will see her have the opportunities. But another player that has the opportunity to step up, because finally the team is hers, Dana Evans from the Chicago Sky. We know that she's played under greats like Kalia Copper. She had Candace Parker, who owned the team when she was there, but it is now Dana's time to step up. She's improved every year, has constantly been the most slept on point guard, but this time radiating confidence. I cannot wait to see her go.
So fun to watch too during her days at Louisville playing under Jeff Walz. And every single year she has gotten better. She hasn't had a lot of opportunities to play with some of the players in front of her. And to be quite frank, she hasn't actually even played in her position a lot of the time. She's a true point guard, and she's going to get to run this team now. And she's got some of the youngsters under her now. She's a veteran now in the league.
She's the longest tenured Chicago Sky player. You know, Diamond was there for the championship run, but she had an absence with the team. But what Angel Reese was saying in the post-game pressers is that she's really bought into Dana's energy, and so I can't wait to see them feed off of each other. And that electricity that we've seen from her since her Louisville days, it's going to show. Dana loves to drive. She got a shot on her too, and I love watching her play. It's just so fun.
So we're talking about Chicago Sky, the Indiana Fever, a team that has done a rebuild. They are in win-now mode.
Absolutely.
Win-now mode. They tip off against the Connecticut Sun coming up in a couple of minutes.
What a year for women's basketball. And yet, it's barely begun. Because if you like this,
She hit it! Show-stopping highlight!
you're going to love this.
My goodness! This is ridiculous!
After this crazy finale,
Unforgettable finish! Back-to-back champion!
there's a dynasty in the making. And the star power doesn't stop there, especially with this rookie class. Whether you've been here from the jump or tuning in to hear this familiar phrase,
From the logo!
this
I'm not done!
is the W.
All right, we now welcome in ESPN WNBA analyst Monica McNutt joining the show. Monica, so great to have you with us. We are now here. Caitlin Clark's day is here. She gets center stage, and she will tip off in a matter of moments against the Connecticut Sun. There's been so much momentum built up to this moment. Can you put into context what tonight means for the WNBA at large?
You know, Sam, I hear you, and I definitely think the energy around the start of this season resembles what I remember as a little girl growing up in D.C. when the Mystics joined the WNBA back in '98, I believe. So there's definitely the enthusiasm that I don't know we've quite seen since the league launched in '96. But I do think tonight is an important step in her career, but it's just the beginning. And so however you put that in perspective, I think we oftentimes remember the way players finish their careers in terms of their legacy a little bit more than maybe the beginnings. But I'm certainly excited to see what she's going to look like in a regular season WNBA game against a team in the Connecticut Sun that is no stranger to playing deep into the postseason. And of course, identity is physical, and they're wanting to defend.
Now, Monica, you said it. Physicality is their identity. They play deep into this postseason. You're on the court of Mohegan Sun, and Connecticut is coming off a great past few seasons. And so how will Indiana handle the physicality of Connecticut tonight, especially when you have an Alyssa Thomas that we know a brick wall?
All right, look, I'm ready to find out. I want to see what they got cooked up. But my thought is that we're going to see this Fever team look to run a little bit faster this year because of Caitlin's playmaking ability and her prowess for making the right pass. But as much as we talk about Connecticut's physicality, Aaliyah Boston is no stranger to physicality. And when you look at someone on the Fever roster like Timmy Fagambile, she's also someone that's very willing to play a physical brand of basketball. I think of Nalissa Smith, who has the athleticism. Maybe you don't think of her with physicality first, but she certainly has the athleticism. And of course, you go to their veteran when you talk about Erica Wheeler, and she's someone that's willing to play physical as well. And so I am curious to see what the Fever will be executing in their half-court sets. I imagine a lot of pick and roll using Aaliyah Boston because you have to decide how you want to defend that. And she, like I said, is not shy when it comes to getting the ball in the paint. Now, specifically, when we talk about who you're being physical with, oh, baby, Alyssa Thomas is a whole brick wall. We are fully aware of that. I believe you said that, Ari, so I'm just quoting what you said.
Specifically, Monica?
Girl, but then you look at Tawana Bonner, right? While she is lean, she's not afraid to mix it up, right? That's also a part of her game in terms of getting to the free throw line. And then I think about the guards that the Sun have and their willingness to defend. Someone like Dejanay Carrington and the lineage, track star mom, football player dad, like she's willing to defend and isn't running from physicality either. So I'm really, really curious to see if we see a significant contrast in styles. I think the Fever are figuring it out in real time because this is a big-time addition when you talk about Caitlin Clark, where the Sun, to me, have been a little bit more established in who they are.
Yeah, Monica, let's just take it back to Caitlin for a second because you said this is just the beginning, and you're absolutely right. She has a bunch of years in front of her playing in this league, but what are realistic expectations for Caitlin? What does a successful season look like for Caitlin Clark in your mind?
Well, she's the favorite to win Rookie of the Year, Sam. And I initially, about a month ago, wasn't sure if I was in on that because I wanted to see what is it going to look like, right? Are there going to be other classmates for her that have the opportunity to be impactful on teams that are able to amass more wins? The Fever won 13 games last year, right? And so there's a lot of room for growth when it comes to them. Now, tonight, I mean, I'm feeling like 5 assists, 10 to 12 points from Caitlin Clark would be a solid start. I could be completely wrong in that, and we remember that 4 is the most three-pointers that have been made in a debut. She already knocked down 5 in a preseason game, however you want to gauge that. But when I look at the season in totality, Sam, 25-5 is what she averaged for 2 seasons over her time at Iowa. I don't necessarily expect that now. I think the ebbs and flows and her responsibility on the defensive end, obviously that's going to require some energy that will probably affect what she's able to do on the offensive end. But I do think I'm expecting like a double-digit average season from her. And then I think the assists, I'm somewhere between 5 and 7 probably. And I think that will come with ebbs and flows. She's going to have plenty of welcome to the WNBA moments. And I imagine she will dish out some I'm here moments.
Well, we have welcome to the WNBA, and I'm here in front of a sold-out crowd. Connecticut Sun, I mean, come on, yes? And so the vibes have to be right. Y'all get Yin Yang Twins in halftime. Monica, give us a vibe check from Mohegan Sun right now.
Listen, so we were here during the rehearsal for the Yin Yang Twins. We were trying to figure out what edits they're going to use for some of their most popular songs, guys.
I'm so jealous.
Monica,
we're looking forward to that.
This is all Ari's been talking about
in my
all
life.
day. No, never mind the basketball.
I
need to see the halftime show. That's all she's been talking about.
Holly was actually doing a phoner in the green room, and I was fully ready to walk into the green room yelling, "Let me see you get low," but I didn't because she had to do her interview.
Shake it like a salt shaker.
Fans are starting to fill in for sure. I saw a lot of Iowa jerseys and T-shirts walking down. You know how Mohegan is set up. You got to come through the hotel, through the casino before you get to the arena itself. There are tons of cameras here, guys, which we know have been following the Caitlin Clark effect. And so the dance team was out early, Ari. They was getting right, getting tight.
I'll check it, Monica.
The rehearsal. Yeah, girl. So I think that they're ready to put on a show here in the arena. Not just on the court by the two teams, but also everybody here making it a memorable opening night.
It is going to be a memorable opening night. Monica McNutt, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the game.
Thanks, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Full slate of games across the ESPN family of networks and Disney Plus for the first time tonight. The Fever looking to win their first season opener since 2019. They have lost 4 straight. It's the longest active streak in the league. Reigning champs in action at 10 p.m. Eastern time, and then the 2023 MVP Stewie in the Liberty squaring off with the Mystics at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Let's just keep it right back there with this game behind us, with the Fever and the Sun getting ready to tip off in about a minute or a couple minutes or so. Thoughts on this game, Ari?
You know, they're looking to get their first victory coming out. And I don't know if it's going to happen because you have Connecticut Sun playing with a chip on their shoulder. We saw how it ended last season. But Tiffany Mitchell is the X factor for me tonight. She gets to play so much freer than she did in Minnesota under Stephanie White's system. I cannot wait to see her shine and just loosen up and play the game that we know Tiffany Mitchell plays. Also, Dejanay Carrington is somebody I'm looking forward to seeing. She was injured a lot last season, and just the comeback is going to be great. Mark my words.
Before we get out of here, we got to talk about the two-time defending champs and the Aces. They're playing the Mercury tonight. That's a late one, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Thoughts on that one? Favorites to make the three-peat.
I mean, absolute favorites to make the three-peat. The way they move the ball is poetic. The way they just find each other, they like each other. The chemistry is there. It goes beyond basketball. And Phoenix is a fairly new team. The pieces are being put together. They're still finding their rhythm. But they have a great point guard in Natasha Cloud. They have a great shooting guard in Kalia Copper. I mean, somebody who can elevate and really get her shot off, looking to them too.
All right, we're out of time.
Are we? That's crazy.
We are out of time, and we are ready to tip off the season with the rest of you at home. So thank you so much for watching WNBA Hoop Streams, presented by Google. For Ari Chambers and our entire crew, I'm Sam Ravech. Head on over to ESPN Plus and ESPN3 for the Liberty and Mystics.